Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is for the last part of this portion of the shelf drawing. I am going to dimension the thickness of my boards, which will carry up here. I'm going to dimension the length of the overall shelf, which is 17.5. The inside boards that you will cut, which will be 16 inches long. This sideboard, which you will have to cut, which will be 5.5 inches wide by 8 inches high. And then the width of your shelf and backer board, which will be 4.5. Okay, so I'm going to start with the overall length. I'm going to start with those major dimensions because that's what I would like to see you guys go with first. So number one, I'm going to draw an extension line, and I'm going to draw them kind of long here. I'm going to draw one here and one here for the overall length. Then I'm going to come back in to these lines and draw extension lines here and here as well. So I've given extension lines to the outside and the inside dimension. Then all I have to do, and while I'm at it, I think I'll go ahead and put those extension lines over here on this side view because I can make my drawing look a little bit neater. With this 16-inch dimension, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a dimension line here, leave a space, leave a gap, to here. Then I'm going to come here, leave a gap, to here. Then I can put arrow leaders on those because remember your arrow leader needs to touch off to that extension line. There and there. I know this dimension is going to be 16 inches and I know this dimension is going to be 5.5. That's exactly 5.5 inches. That's exactly what your board is going to be cut to. Then I'm going to come down to this bottom line. I'm going to drop it down a little and I'm going to do another dimension line here and here, and I'm going to keep it right in the middle. I'm going to keep it nice and neat looking. I'm going to do arrow leaders here because I know when this is finished, the thing I'm going to check is the overall length of your shelf is 17.5 inches because 16 plus 3/4 plus 3/4 more, that's 3/4 and 3/4 is 1.5. 16 1.5 is 17.5. Okay. Speaking of 3/4, I'm going to dimension the thickness of these boards next, and that's pretty easy. All I have to do is come up to the top, keep my tools nice and square. I need an extension line here and here, slide it across. I need one here and here. Then remember that 3/4 of an inch, remember the technique that I taught you earlier. This is too tight to put arrow leaders in, so I'm going to bring my T-square up and I'm going to draw my arrows pointing into that dimension like this. Arrow leaders pointing in here and here. And then I can just put my dimension in the middle here, and both of those are 3/4 of an inch. Remember, we are still drawing to 1/2 equals 1 inch scale. And then the very last base dimension, well, I'm sorry, the two last base dimensions we need are the 8-inch tall here and the 4.5 here because that's the overall thickness of that board. Remember that hidden line right there is just that board underneath. You're going to need a board 4.5 inches wide. So I'm going to do an extension line here. I'm going to do one here. And then I'll go ahead and put these up here because I need this dimension as well. Okay. Then I will use my T-square and my angle, and I'm going to draw this. Make sure you keep these dimensions well out away from the object, your object lines, your project itself. Do arrow leaders here. I'll do some lines here. And again, I've stayed plenty far away from my project. There and there. And I know this one is 4.5, so you can go ahead and dimension that one exactly that, 4.5 inches. And I know this one, open that up a tiny bit, I know this one is 8 inches because you're going to cut that sideboard 8 by 5.5. So I'm going to label that 8 inches. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of your shelf drawing part 4. I one more detail that I think I would like for you to put in, if this dimension right here is 16 inches, we're going to need a center line to begin our design work. So if given the time, using that 1/2 inch scale again, line up the 0 on this inside line and the 16 over here, I'd like for you to make a mark at 8 inches there, at 8 inches using your 1/2 inch scale. And I would like for you to, just through the front view of this shelf, I would like for you to give me a center line there, because that will help when we start designing our pattern, because we'll make a pattern half as big as that. So if you get to this point and get that center line drawn in, that will help you greatly go on when we go on to the next part. So I would like to go ahead and leave this drawing up, let everybody get caught up. So this one will stay up for the remainder of the period. To make sure that everybody gets caught up to this point, you're welcome to walk around, look at the sample shelves, or look at the examples that I have in the side and the back of the shop of the shelf drawings, and I want them to look exactly like this. Good luck finishing this up.